All right, everybody. Hey, it's Dave Kramer, the Critical Thinking Christian, and today I want to talk about. I saw a short um, that was concerning Friedrich Nietzsche, who he was talking about Christians and Jews during the time of the Roman Empire, the ones that had turned to Christianity. Okay, that was the Greek-speaking people, and Romans spoke Greek too, but the Greek-speaking people and the Jewish people that became Christians, and how under Rome's oppression they were pretty much low, poor. They were not all influential, though some were. There were some that were centurions, there were some that were landowners, so there were those that became Christian that still retained their status. It was just that, there were a lot that were not rich. Okay, they were poor. And I think Ananias and Sapphira, that story where they sold land and were to give all the money. So they were landowners. They had money, and they didn't want to give that money up. But he was talking mainly about Christians and Jews that were not, well, I should just say Greeks and Jews that became Christian that were not well off and affluent, and they were oppressed, and they saw the way the Roman Empire comported itself or held itself, or the way they acted, and those that were rich and influential, and how they had a sour grape mentality. And I never really thought about the whole where the sour grape thing came from, but it's Aesop's Fables. And I should know this because I actually read Aesop's Fables when I was a kid. I just, that 56 years old, that was way back. But in Aesop's Fables, there's a story of I think a fox. Is it a fox or a wolf that wants grapes, and the grapes are too high up in the tree and the fox can't get them, so the fox just says, well, they must be sour anyway. So I can't reach them, so therefore the grapes are sour. That's how I'll justify the fact that I don't like not being able to get it. I'm not on steroids, so because I can't pick up a 600-pound deadlift and a guy on steroids can pick up a 600-pound deadlift, therefore, the reason I can't do that is because I'm not on steroids and he can do that because he's on steroids. Okay. How the hell do I know? Because there are people that are not on steroids that can deadlift 600. I didn't take steroids, and back in the day when I was 30, I could pull 530 pounds. Okay. But he was saying that they have a slave mentality, and they're Christians. I saw where on that short that someone was going, no, Nietzsche has it all backwards. It's not a slave mentality. It's a servant because we're free, and then we just choose to become servants. But actually, it talks about being a slave to Christ. So you have to be a slave. And I don't know how many of you that are watching are Christians, or if any of you are Christians, but you were taught in a way that money isn't good. Okay, the love of money is the root of all evil. And that's where, the love of money, and if you say, like I've said already to a Christian, I'd like to make more money because I need to do this, I need to, well, money can be bad, and money, really? Now, this here, what I'm drinking, is a electrolyte drink. It has no sugar in it, it has no carbs. And, okay, I can go to town on this and really not have any bad side effects. But say I used to like drinking green tea, and I used to like drinking that green tea with ginseng and honey. Well, there's a lot of sugar in that. And drinking that, if I go crazy on that, well, that's bad too, because there's a chance I can get diabetes, plus cancer feeds off of sugar. So if say I have any cancerous cells in me, they're going to love that because, oh, hey, he's buying another 5 gallons. So, all right, here we go, tumor. So, but they look at the bad, okay? They have that sour grape mentality, and they look at these people that are bad. Say these elite people, like a Bill Gates or whatever, that, the stuff that he has said, and he's got all kinds of money and all kinds of time. They have time to do things, and they don't have a lot. They get bored, so they do all kinds of evil stuff, okay? They're going to an eyes wide shut thing where they're banging each other's wives. Yeah, well, what about the rich people that are not banging each other's wives? What about those that actually are giving back to their community? Why don't you look at that? Well, you can't look at that, because if you look at that, it won't justify you being a poor, slovenly, just weak, and, I don't have a lot of money, and I'm a humble, good person. That's called self-righteousness, which the Bible speaks against. You shouldn't be a self-righteous person. So, but I do agree with Nietzsche to a point where a lot of Christians will do that. There are also Christians I know that would not want to get any, they didn't want a house and they didn't want a home, and they wanted to live in their trailer and not have a lot because, well, the responsibility that comes with that really sucks. So they didn't want that. And that was I don't need that. I don't need that. I am good. I mean, it's like, and you're standing there and you're going like this because that halo over their head is just shining brighter and brighter. It's like, God, man, does anybody have any sunglasses or whatever, So you've got a lot of these different attitudes in Christianity, but yes, there is the sour grapes. There's like I said about my mom decided she don't want to be a nurse because she thought the accident that she had was God telling her that she wasn't doing right, so she decided she was going to be a homemaker. Now, my mom worked hard, garden, she canned a heck of a lot. We used to have a lot of canned vegetables and stuff like that, and she did a lot of flower planting and stuff, so she worked. So she wasn't like some of these homemakers where they're at home, they got their little automatic sweeper going around the house, and they're sitting there, with their feet up, drinking another glass of wine, Yeah, I'm feeling all right, But, yeah, so my mom had an excuse, and that was just what that was. That was an excuse, and then she gets mad because, okay, it kind of like, that kind of rubs her raw. My cousin has a excellent job. I think she has an excellent job. I hope that it works out for her for the rest of her life. I mean, you can go around the country, and she's been going around like Massachusetts and Ohio, and I think she was out in Illinois. And she's a traveling nurse, not a traveling Wilbury, a traveling nurse, and she makes like $68 an hour. Yeah, $68 an hour, and she gets to see the country. I'm not threatened by that, but I think my mom gets a little irritated because, well, she wanted to be a nurse. Okay, so you have that sour grape shit with Christians, and I do think there's a good percentage of Christians that do have a sour grape mentality. So I agree with Nietzsche for those people, but then for some people, I want money because I got a lot of work I got to do. And I don't care if you make more money than me. I don't care if you make, $1 million a month. Way to go. I hope you use it right or whatever. But then again, like I said, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You do what you want. But if you're a Christian, that has sour grapes because of somebody, maybe you need to work on you. Maybe you need to get your head out of your ass and start doing something that's worthwhile, that gives you confidence and takes your mind off of that person. Because, that's just a shit way of thinking. And what else did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about something else, and I can't think of what I wanted to talk about now. Maybe I'll think about it later. I was watching a video that Aaron Ra had where he was talking about how Christians can't answer question. I think it was about God's existence, about whether God exists or creation or whatever. And they don't really, and I was thinking, well, no, they ain't got any evidence other than the Bible. And now I said before, and I'll say it again, I do look outside and I see that there seems to be a design. And if there's design, I believe there's a designer. If you don't, that's fine with me. I don't need to, change your mind or influence you either way. And if anybody says, well, when they hear me say that, say, well, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Well, I didn't claim it and tell you need to believe it. So I don't need to have any evidence other than what I see. So I do believe there's a creator, but Christians don't really have anything. They can't give evidence. Let's see. Let's take the 6,000 years. Okay, we supposedly, according to Christians, we have a 6,000 year history, which is really short. And how do they figure that? Well, I think there was a bishop back in the 1600s that decided that, was it October 23rd of the year 4004 BC that this guy came up with? How do you, October 23rd? That's specific. 4,000, at what time of day? At what time of day was that, Bishop? But anyway, he used, I know he used the age of the patriarchs. That was the Adam and Methuselah and Noah and Enoch and all those people. But here's the problem with that. Genesis, that creation story in Adam and Eve, is allegory and metaphor. It's not real. So right there, you can't use Adam. And I don't believe that anybody lived to be 969 years old. There needs to be more evidence. I know that I heard, I think a apologist or a Christian anthropologist say that as we grow older, this brow becomes more robust. It grows out. And if we grow to, say, 900 years, that our brow will grow out enough that we will look like maybe a Cro-Magnon or a what the heck was that other guy? Neanderthal. I don't know, will we? There again, you can't prove that. If you find these skulls that have that, and that's what that is, okay, but how are you going to prove that? This is Methuselah. And how do you know that? His name's on the back of his skull. This is his name right here, Methuselah. So, are you carving names in the back? No. Yes. Yes, you are. So, but then there are scientists that say, and I didn't look for this, but I believe it. If you have a tree and you cut a tree down, it has rings, and you can count the rings and say, well, this tree was 105 years old. And there are also ways that you can count the ages, the years of the earth, and they can count things they can verify that they can count 10,000, 20,000 years. Okay, and the Bible never says how old the earth is. It doesn't say when it was created, what year, and that'd be year zero. Even though they go the 4,000, but just say year zero, and it's X amount, 12,534 years old, and it was created in April 4th of that year. Okay, well, that's great. Well, What was there an April back then? Did they have an October back then? I don't know. Were they German? Did they have an October? That would have been Oktoberfest. So boom, the minute Adam was created, it was Oktoberfest. I would have been like, boom, hell yeah, just bring a pitcher over here. Come on, Eve, you can drink with me. That's right. They weren't sinful. They were innocent, weren't they? Adam and Eve were innocent. They had no idea what death was, no idea what sin was. Even if they knew the definitions, they had no idea. And then God set them up. God wouldn't do it. He didn't set them up. He gave them a choice. Yes, he gave them a choice. A choice that they had no fucking idea of what's going to happen. In that day you shall surely die. And up until that point, 24 hours. Evening and morning were the first day. 24-hour period. So, the next time he says, in that day you will surely die, what are you thinking? Well, in Peter it says, a day with God is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as a day. Did the Israelites, the Jewish people back then, know about Peter? No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Moses was what, in 1200? What year was he? Was he in 1200 BC? I think so. So in that, did they know about that 1,000 years? No, they didn't. What did they think a day was? A day. Because why would they do that? Because it said that in Genesis, and evening and morning were the first day, and they're like, okay, well that's a 24-hour period, or if you want to say a 12-hour, I mean, evening and morning, so that'd be a 12-hour period. So their days were, but anyway, you know what I'm talking about. But so in that day you will surely die, and then he lives to be 930 years old. And because of that, when Peter says this, a Christian will, of course, look at this and then define that by this. No, see, this was written before that. And these people didn't know about that. Okay? And if you don't like that, well, that's sour grapes, right? Okay. Enough of me talking. Okay? I could talk all day about this nonsense. I mean, there's so much to talk about. And I believe that. And some of you believe that. Okay? That's one of the things about this stuff. It's a powder, and there's a lot of powder in it, and you can't mix it. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do from now on is I'm just going to put in lines on my table and snort it, Still get all the electrolytes I need, right? Okay, that's all I have until the next time I decide to ramble on like a incoherent baboon. So, that's it. Goodbye.